What up, Bulls Nation? Peck here. We've got a live CHGO Bulls pod coming up for y'all right around the corner, kicking off a fresh week of Bulls content. The Bulls schedule rolls on tomorrow night at home against the Cavs, who just got their 50th win of the season. But first, we got to talk more draft stuff. It's that time of year. We're excited. Plus, we got to get a little bit more thoughts from other people on what AK had to say about this team's grandiose plans on the Give Me the Hot Sauce pod. To do that, we're talking with our friend, the one and only Ricky O'Donnell, next. What's going on, Bulls Nation? Welcome into the CHGO Bulls podcast. Coming to you live from our studios here in West Loop, downtown Chicago. I'm Peck, Bulls_Peck. That's Big Day. Bam! Bam! BAWL Sports. Will the Goat Gottlieb, perfectly coiffed as always. Will_Gottlieb. Katie Dovey, the queen of the controls, hanging out with us. Sans Mike, because we got a full set today, sitting in that middle chair. Y'all know and love his coverage of not only NBA hoops, but college hoops, the NBA draft, and the occasional column just eviscerating the dysfunction of this organization we helplessly love so much. He is the one and only of SB Nation, Ricky O'Donnell.
Let's go!
Follow Ricky at SBN_Ricky for all of his great content and coverage. Ricky, what's up, man? Welcome back.
What's going on, guys? Thanks for having me. I'm just here for Big Dave to sing the theme song right before the show starts. That's great theater, so... thanks for having me, guys.
O'Donnell is my spirit animal.
That
Says
is
Mitch, the Saints fan. I love that.
how we kicking it off, baby.
We,
Bulls negativity wise.
Yeah,
I like that.
We had our guy Corey from the Draft News on one of our episodes last week, and everybody really enjoyed that as we start really diving into draft coverage and content. There were multiple requests. Like, y'all got to bring Ricky in. And we're like, oh, yeah, we will.
Yeah.
We will.
I like the one where the person was like, you guys should really have Ricky O'Donnell on the show like 2 days ago. And we were like, Matt was like,
I was like,
well, guess what?
Just tune in on Monday.
Tune on in. So
He'll be here.
he will be in the flesh. Thank you.
So how are you doing with this transition of, like, you cover a lot of ground at SB Nation and you do a very good job of it.
Yes.
His latest mock, which we'll get to a little bit later on, available right now, SBNation.com. Go check it out. But, like, this time of year, we were just kind of chatting before the show, you transition a little bit. Like, you wrote like a top 5 destinations for Kevin Durant this summer column the other day, which is awesome. But now it's like, okay, there's a more, aggressive shift to college hoops. What's the transition like?
Yeah, I think normally just how I've been doing this job over the 13 years, I've held it
shout
down.
out
So
Flex.
very lucky to be able to, hold down a media job for that long. But typically, I'm covering NBA, watching mostly NBA until the All-Star game. After the All-Star game, turned to college basketball. And it's my job to cover both leagues. Also covering some women's college basketball. Went to the Notre Dame-UConn game at Notre Dame, which was pretty sick. Both those teams are awesome. So, yeah, tons of hoops right now. This is the time for basketball. High school state playoffs underway as well. Yeah. So, yeah, just tons of basketball going on. Hard to keep up with everything, but, the fact that this is my job, pretty awesome. Lucky to do it.
Not bad at all, man.
You guys got cool jobs, too, so you get it.
do.
Well, yeah, but you don't have to talk about the Bulls every day.
Yeah.
He said, a touche. Yes.
But you got to talk about him today because we just had the Arturas on Give Me the Hot Sauce. We talked about it a little bit last night, but before we get into draft stuff, got to hear your take on just what he was saying. I don't know if you guys have specific things you wanted to bring up from that, but
Oh, yes.
I mean, we just don't get to hear from Arturas that often.
Yeah.
And so he finally goes on a podcast, talks a little bit about himself, his background, and then also the 18th month plan. What was your take?
First of all, I thought Mark and Stacy did a great job with the interview. I didn't know a lot of that personal information about Arturas. So, it's just easy for us to sit here and rag on Arturas, and we're going to do it this entire episode. But I thought that, I learned a lot about him during that episode. So nice job to Mark and Stacy conducting that interview. Once again, absolutely devastated that Arturas is fooled by Mickey Mouse March.
Yeah.
Of course, a few years ago, Arturas, so encouraged by the Bulls going, what was it, 13-9?
14-9.
14-9, sorry.
Can't
shortchanging them.
Can't shortchange him win.
Shout out Pat Bev.
Arturas was so encouraged by the Bulls going 14-9 with Patrick Beverley on the roster. Of course, then he did not retain him in the offseason despite bringing that up consistently. But it's happening again. Arturas is on the podcast, and he's like, well, we only lost to the Knicks by 4, and we were so close to beating, all these other teams. And it's like, dude, this part of the schedule doesn't matter. He literally quoted the stat about, Giddey's run over 4 games in late February. He's like, and only Michael Jordan has accumulated those stats. It's like, Jesus, man, this doesn't matter. The team has been so bad for so long. You're the reason they're bad. And as he just continues to sort of talk about his plan or explain himself, it seems like he just has no patience for a full and proper rebuild. And the guy can't help himself but to skip steps. When you do that, you are destined to fail without getting extremely lucky. The only thing that can save the Bulls is lottery luck. Their chances are not going to be very good at it, and it's just a shame because these next 2 drafts, both very good. The 26th draft, I've written a little bit about that, is absolutely loaded. I think one of the strongest top 3s in that draft. Since I've been covering the draft, I think the first one I covered was 2013. And I have no faith in the Bulls to try to get down and compete for, Cameron Boozer, AJ DeBonsa, Darren Peterson. All 3 of those guys are studs because Arturas is just addicted to mediocrity and he can't let go.
Addicted to it while saying on the other side of his mouth, we won't accept it.
Yeah. But I'll be okay with it. But we won't accept it. Also in that interview, I thought it was interesting. He talked about Patrick Williams and just the things he said about him. And shout out Mark Shanowski for asking him about him. But just his going into it saying, well, he still feels like he's still learning, he's still building, and, the classic, Mark K line, he's only 23. So what did you feel about his answer with a guy like Patrick Williams when you hear him say a 6-year pro is still kind of rebuilding and still trying to ramp up and get there?
Patrick Williams has been absolutely horrendous the entire season when he was on the floor. His PER this year, of course, not the best advanced set, but a pretty decent catch-all. A 20 PER is like an all-star. A 15 is a solid starter.
Negatives? Is this negative?
Patrick Williams is 8. He has an 8 PER. If you just go by raw field goal percentage, it's 37%. It's like, dude, you're 6'8", you're athletic, you should be hammering home dunks.
Yeah.
How are you shooting 37% from the field? Well, he's probably shooting 37% on dunks.
Yeah.
Because he hasn't been able to make a dunk the entire season when he was on the floor. But what an awful year for Patrick Williams. He looks so slow. Yeah. He looks completely unexplosive. I guess if you're an optimist, you could say, well, he was never truly healed from the foot injury over the summer. Maybe with, a full year of training, more recovery, that he could bounce back next year. I don't know, guys. They got him making $18 million a year for the next 4 years after this season. If you could dump him for an expiring salary,
deal,
would you do it? Or do you just think, well, this team stinks anyway? You might as well have one young-ish guy who could maybe be a 3-and-D forward. His skill set is in demand if he can be, a somewhat competent NBA player. So what do you think? Would you keep him on the team or would you just dump him to get rid of the salary?
We got rid of him for Cheetos a while ago. So that's
I feel like it's tough because and this kind of leads into this other part of what AK was talking about with their 18th month plan and being in a position to use cap space after the 26th season. It almost doesn't really matter whether he's on the books right now just because you have no other money tied down at this point. However, once you get into the Josh Giddey conversation and how much you want to re-sign Io and Kobe for, I think that's where it starts to get a little bit more complicated. So could you get off of Patrick's contract cheaply? I mean, maybe that gets harder to do once he's sustained not playing well. But I think it doesn't really matter until you have to make real money decisions. So that brings me to my next question, which is your evaluation, Ricky, of Josh Giddey, how he's been playing of late. Obviously, he's kind of gone on a tear here in the month of March and February. But just where do you kind of evaluate him and his long-term potential with the Bulls, and what would you pay him in free agency?
Yeah, well, this is the most important part of the season, Will. So Josh Giddey's playing his best basketball. No, the Bulls are already mathematically eliminated. None of these games matter. I am not fooled by this hot run by Josh Giddey. One very telling Josh Giddey stat this season is that if you just look at his 3-point shooting, he has not even attempted a 3 closely guarded the entire season. If there's someone within 4 feet of him, he's taken like basically 10 threes the entire year, and he's made him at like a 25% clip. Now, if he's wide open, which according to the NBA.com data is like 6+ feet of separation, he's actually making 40% of his threes. So pretty good. If you're wide open, you might as well take them and make them, right? But nobody's guarding him. The shot is still very slow, and there's just no real utility in the shot because he won't take a pull-up. So he's just got to be a wide open catch-and-shoot guy. And just having him on the floor when he doesn't have the ball, he's clogging the lane for everyone else because nobody respects him out there, even though he is making 40% of those wide open threes. So Giddey, I think, I was thinking about the last time I was on this podcast. It was another draft preview right before the draft. And I went hard on Giddey, saying, I hate this trade. Giddey stinks. But I wouldn't be surprised if he averaged something like 17, 8, and 8. And what is he averaging this year? Something like
17, 8, and 8.
No, he's not. He's not scoring that much. It's
I think it's a little bit less.
14, 6, and 7 or something like that.
But since Zach got traded, he has been looking.
He's been better.
Basically, exactly
February magic.
The box numbers that we kind of expected him to put up.
Yeah.
But yes, 13, 7.5, 6.5.
So in terms of retaining him, I still think it's going to be really hard to build a contender with Josh Giddey playing a big role on a contender. Now, you know what type of team you can build with Josh Giddey playing a big role? A team that consistently gets in the 9-10 play-in game, which is what the Bulls want to do. They think, hey, if we get in the play-in, we just need to win 1 or 2 games, and then we can make the playoffs. And if we're the 8th seed in the East, hold another Grant Park parade because we are a success. So I think, with Giddey, there's going to be, a baseline where it's going to be tough for the team to totally bottom out because Giddey, for as much as I can criticize him, he's still a decent player. You got to tip your cap to him at some point for his ability to get the offense going in transition a little bit, for him to clean the glass. Like I said, he's making his open threes this year. He's actually getting to the foul line a little bit more, which is one of my biggest criticisms of him in Oklahoma City, is he was never getting to the foul line. But in general, I just feel like Giddey gives you a baseline of being a play-in team, which, it's what does that really get you? Especially in the Eastern Conference, it's pathetic, guys. Every team the Bulls are better than this year, Arturas, listen to this. Every team the Bulls are better than this year is not trying to win. And Arturas is still so encouraged that they only need to win 1 or 2 games to make it into the playoffs until they get completely demolished by the Cavs, which, by the way, we will get a preview of, potentially.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, the Cavs are 50-10. The Cavs are a juggernaut. The Bulls, well, they stink because they always stink. It's the Chicago Bulls. So, Giddey, what do you think is a fair average annual salary for Josh Giddey? To me, I would try to get him on a team-friendly contract if you're determined to keep him. How about $13 million a year? Oh, Arturas is going to give him a lot more than that.
A lot more than
Try
that.
to double.
Somebody was asking me on Twitter the other day, who knows that I'm not a Giddey believer. All right, well, it's not about letting him test the market or whatever. What do you think as somebody who's not big on Giddey? What's the fair price? And I told him, I was I don't want to say because you're going to be offended by it. Because to me, it's to me, it's not about the figure. I don't think that is the central piece of a championship caliber team. So cut bait and run. You lost the Caruso trade, cut bait and run. It's not about 13 million versus 23. I won't like it either way. I'll be less offended by the 13 if it is that, but you just said, Ricky, and I agree with you, it's not that. It's going to be at least 20.
Yeah, at least. Between 18 and 20 is where I got it at for him, man.
Yeah, I have no clue how to evaluate him because I agree. It's when you put the ball in his hands and let him run the offense, let him run the show, he's going to put up big numbers.
Sure.
And the Bulls they have been competitive recently. I don't think that they are a championship team. I don't think they have really the foundation of a team that's even trending that way. But he has been really good. I think he has defended a lot better this year. They had him on Scotty Barnes the other night. You have to give him credit for his effort there. And then the free throw thing you were talking about, he is trying to get all the way downhill. And I think that's a huge step forward. But we also have 4 years of information about him now that he's, I don't want to say that he can never be the best player on a championship team. I haven't seen that to this point.
He obviously can't be the best player on a championship team.
I'm not thinking that he can get to that point. But I think the real issue for me is that I think he struggles when he's off the ball. And so if he's not the best player, which we don't think he can be, then how does he factor in? And that's where it's like, okay, you can't pay a guy. I mean, we just saw him on the Thunder, like where he was played off the court in that situation. So I just think it's a challenge. I don't know what the right number is, but I think it's, to your point, Matt, like it's just hard to imagine building a team that way.
Yeah, it is. We got to take our first ad break right there. Stick around. Still plenty more to get to on the Bulls and the upcoming 25 draft class with our guy, Ricky O'Donnell of the one and only SB Nation. Also, check out that Cash Considerations pod. Shout out to Jason Pat. Hit the like button while we're sharing these words from our friends and sponsors. Do it for us. Do it for Katie. Do it for Ricky. Hit the like.
All right, let's pull these out, baby. Let's see if I can look in here.
See the future.
See the Bulls' future. It's a little dark. Can't really see too much.
Who are they going to take with that number 10 pick, Dave?
Oh, I see a bunch of consonants in their last name. Just a ton of them in there, I tell you. Because you can see anything out of these, baby. Go take a look. Those right on optics right there. That's what they are. Because no matter what outdoor or indoor activity you prefer, it's always important. Looks good, right? To have the best view possible. Right On Optics offers a full range of optics products so you can see clearly, because everyone could use a good pair of binoculars. It's the perfect balance of performance and value. They will not break the bank. Right On Optics has been around for over a decade. Every product receives a full quality control inspection, and they have the Right On Promise unlimited lifetime warranty, which covers defects, but also accidental damages from them drops. Guess what? You're covered. You good to go. Check out the full line of Right On products today at rightonoptics.com/CHGO. That's RITON optics.com/CHGO. Right On Optics. I see you in your face.
CHGO Bulls Today also brought to you by our friends at Sam Adams.
Oh, got it
American
on
Light.
too.
Oh, you rocking the softest hoodie in the universe?
Softest hoodie in the world.
I'm jealous you're wearing that.
Woo.
Light beer just got better, y'all. Introducing Sam Adams American Light. It's crisp, it's clean, it's super easy to drink.
It is.
Sam Adams American Light is not your average light beer. It's brewed with 100% American source ingredients from local independent farmers. Light beer shouldn't feel like a compromise. Right now, I'm feeling like I'm making a compromise because we ran out of our most recent inventory.
Yeah.
And I would love nothing more than to have an icy cold Sam Adams American Light on this shelf next to me.
We will rectify
and
that.
I'm really upset about it right now.
It's not
I don't know
good.
if you could tell that I'm in a shit mood. Partly it's the Bulls. Partly it's that we're out of Sam Adams American Light, all right? It's an American classic so smooth you always want to crack another one. And then another one. It's always Sam season, y'all. Light beer just got better, so grab some Sam Adams American Light. Available now at select Chicago retailers. Must be 21 and older. Please drink responsibly.
Yes. Giddey's 2 years older than modest haters.
Bunch of haters. What up, James Knight? Oh, one of our favorite members of the
haters.
The Giddey for Giddey clan. All right, so before we dive into draft stuff, I did just kind of want to put a bow on your thoughts on what AK has said, because he's spoken publicly twice in the span of like a few weeks, which is a lot for him. You know, kind of moving backwards from the Give Me the Hot Sauce, and shout out to Stacey and Mark, to his trade deadline press conference. I'm not sure if you caught it, Ricky. But,
I caught it, Matt.
Dave is the optimist and the calm one and the level-headed one of our group.
Thank you.
He was beating the crap out of our set with a baseball bat after listening to AK talk. So let's just start here really quick. Confirm or deny, agree or disagree with AK's statement that you can build a championship caliber team with 9 to 10 really good players.
I could not believe he said that. That's like crazy. I was watching that like, is he gaslighting us right now? How can you say that? The worst player you can win a championship with as your best player is like Jason Tatum, who's going to be first team All-NBA 5 years in a row this year. And he's like the 6th or 7th best player in the league. Before Jason Tatum won the championship, it was Jokic. Before Jokic won the championship, it was Steph. Before Steph, it was Giannis. Before Giannis, it was LeBron. Yeah. Before LeBron, it was prime Kawhi.
Yeah.
After that, you got Steph and Durant. Then it's basically like LeBron every year, Tim Duncan every year, Kobe or Shaq, Dirk. What is he talking about? You can win a championship with 9 or 10 Josh Giddeys on the team. I could not believe he said that. And even if you say the 2004 Pistons, Like, they got Hall of Famers on that team.
Wallace, Sheed, Billups,
What Hall of
Rip.
Fame is Josh Giddey making? The Hall of Fame for freaky Australians? I don't know.
Well,
All I'm saying, guys.
according to a official Josh Giddey apology form that was making its way around Bulls Twitter earlier this week when he was on his tear, he will be a first ballot Hall of Famer, Ricky.
Well, here's the thing.
Listen to
This
yourself.
team needs star-level talent.
Yes.
Has Arturas shown an ability to identify star-level talent with, not obvious draft picks, not top 2, top 3 draft picks? We saw what happened when he had the number 4 pick. That didn't go very well. So I just can't believe that he really believes that it is more beneficial for the team's future to try to get into the playoffs, to get these young guys some playoff experience, than to maximize his lottery odds and give himself the best possible chance at Cooper Flagg. Because whoever gets Cooper Flagg, that team's future is going to take a big turn up. I think Cooper Flagg's unbelievable. He's basically the best player in college basketball this year. He was 17 years old for half the season.
Yeah.
So many of these other college basketball players this season are 24 or 25 because we're still in like the COVID year era of college hoops. Cooper Flagg is unreal. He's probably like this is a crazy statement.
Okay.
I kind of think his floor is Jason Tatum. Jason Tatum's incredible. I'm not like diminishing him, but that's sort of how much I believe in Cooper Flagg. So yeah, I mean, if the Bulls win the lottery and get Cooper Flagg, they're going to be set. What are their odds right now? They're going to be 8th in the lottery standings. They're going to have like a 6% chance
I think,
to get
6%.
them. They're going to have a worse chance than the Sixers, who are supposed to be competing for the championship this year. Sixers tanking harder during their championship window. The Bulls do during their tanking window. It just sucks.
Mm-hmm.
So Arturas, man, I just think that you're lazy. I think you're delusional. And I think you're very bad at your job, and you should be fired. But here's the best thing about Arturas Karnisovas.
Sure.
As a player, he was not good enough to hit a game-winning shot in the 1993 NBA Finals. So there shouldn't be any loyalty to him, where the Bulls kept John Paxson on the job for 20 years.
He did.
He's
still there. Still on the job.
Well, he's still there, yeah.
Still
He's
got
still there.
a job.
There should be no loyalty to Arturas. Just fire him. Hire a new guy.
Yeah.
Maybe, or, anyone.
Yeah.
Maybe the new person who would take over for him could do a better job, because it's hard to imagine anyone could do worse.
Ooh, go on and
I
breathe after that.
I love when Ricky comes by so much,
Look
y'all.
at the joy you put on Matt's
It's
face. when he
just
did.
getting to listen to another person that has some common sense
Mm-hmm.
and plenty of snark about how broken all of this is. And look, I mean, I don't know if I had heard you say that thing about Cooper Flagg and Tatum before, that is
Yeah,
is
that was
floor.
new for me.
But that's the part that is infuriating to those of us who are trying to get some portion of Bulls fans to understand how important this year and next year's draft classes are, and that the Bulls need to be at the top of them, because you do not win in this league without all NBA first team franchise caliber talents, and that's none of the young guys with experience they have right now. Not even close.
Mm-hmm.
And on top of that, like, obviously you need stars, plural, to win at a high level.
Not according to
But
some.
if you want, like, the free agency plan that we've been talking about, like, you need to have a compelling core to, like, lure a free agent in. And, like, I don't know. I mean, the Bulls have some work to do in order to, like, be appealing for a Luka Doncic who might be available in 2026 if he doesn't. Now that he's not with the Mavs anymore, he's not eligible for the Supermax, so he could be opting out of his contract and becoming a free agent. Like, would you want to come play with the core that the Bulls have now? Probably not. But if they have Cooper Flagg and, whoever else they get next year, like, maybe that could really change things. And I think that's kind of an underrated element of the team building here, is that there's only 3 ways to get guys: draft, free agency, trades. And whether it's trading your draft picks away for stars, signing guys in free agency, like, those draft picks, whether it's the picks themselves or getting a good player at the top of the draft, like, that really helps you obviously build. And then if they turn into a star player, you're cooking.
Yeah, hope and luck. Like I keep telling y'all, that's the strategy. Hope is their only luck. Luck is their only hope.
It's
And
fine though, Dave.
that's
Because
the entire
the
strategy.
Hawks got the number 1 pick last year. That's how it works.
It's the
Go to
entire
the play-in
strategy.
and then you get the number 1 pick.
And that scares me, because I was talking to Tony Gill about this earlier. Like, I don't mind hope and luck if you're a fan. If you're a fan saying that, that makes all the sense in the world. You can have your hope, you can have your luck. I have tons of it. I'm cool with that. It can't be from the person who's running your organization. That's the issue I have with all of it. You're supposed to be the one on top of it. You're supposed to be the most detailed person down to a T. You should know how many games back you are in the playoff run. You should know how many games are left as far as the season is concerned. And to just watch him sit and know what his strategy is, it's I hope we get it kind of strategy. Because even when he was on that interview, Ricky, he was saying, well, I know we're going to get a good player. That's hope. You know what I mean? That's a hope we can get a good player. I think we'll get one in here. Maybe we will. But as much as we watch him, we know that he will not stay the course. That is what he has continued to show us. So even if you do get a player that you like, if it pops up that just, as Matt calls it, that carrot, if that carrot pops up of some kind of player that is kind of like, ooh, Brandon Ingram, ooh, maybe Zion Williamson, you know he'll go for it and abandon everything that they are planning because that's just what it's been for so long, man. At least his tenure here, I should say. Yeah, shake your head. Yeah, look at the sadness going around. Like, yeah.
I feel like we got to pivot into the draft.
We have to.
We have to. Yeah, let's get to the draft.
Bring the mood up a little bit.
Yeah.
So, again, reminder, SBNation.com is where you can catch Ricky's great work covering the NBA. And, yes, of course, as we near that season, the NBA draft class. Your latest mock just from last week with some great new notes on some of these guys in the top end of the lottery. You do have Cooper Flagg 1 and Dylan Harper 2. Where it gets interesting, and, you know, we've been getting pretty excited about VJ Edgecombe ourselves, talking about and watching more of his stuff recently. You have Edgecombe 3 over Ace Bailey, Ricky. Talk to us about why that is.
You know, could go either way on that. I guess Ace Bailey's 6 inches taller and probably a better shooter. Edgecombe has been on fire as a shooter lately.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think that there's 5 really good players in this draft. Those are the top 5 guys in my mock draft. After that, I think it's kind of a crapshoot, and I really don't like kind of the second half of this lottery quite as much. So that's another reason why it's a huge bummer that the Bulls are probably going to be picking 8th, or they always seem to be destined to pick 7th. Maybe that'll happen somehow.
They actually would need to move up to 7th in the lottery for that to happen.
Yeah. So we'll see. Certainly there are some guys who I like who are going to be in the probably second half of the lottery. We could talk about some of those guys, but the dude I would really like for the Bulls to get in this draft, if they can't get Cooper Flagg or Dylan Harper, is I love Cooper Flagg's teammate at Duke, Kaman Malawach. He is being mentored by Luol Deng.
Okay.
Luol Deng picked him for the South Sudanese Olympic team this year. And I believe he was 17 or 16 years old.
That's crazy.
He is 7'3" or something like that, with like a 7'5" wingspan. He has a 9'8" standing reach, which is better than Wemby. And guys, I don't know if you know this, but the rim is 10 feet high.
Say
So
what?
if he puts his arms up over his head, he's at 9 feet and 8 inches.
Wow.
Seems good. I mean, I'm just I'm just a guy.
It's hard to argue with that.
So, I've noticed as I've started to pay more attention to the draft prospects of this class that Malawach is he has believers, then he also has skeptics.
Oh, some
he's
people hate
polarizing.
Malawach, yeah.
Right. So why do you think that is? Because and why do you, as you just kind of laid out some of his metrics there, in your latest mock draft, you call him, quote, too big to fail.
Yeah. I'm a believer, baby. So I'm going down with the Malawach train.
Okay.
You know, we'll see. Because you can poke some holes in his game for sure. If you want to talk about negatives, he's not a great shot blocker or a great rebounder, which is weird because he's huge.
Yeah.
So you would think this guy should be blocking a ton of shots, grabbing a ton of rebounds. He hasn't done that. Why hasn't he done that? Well, he's only been playing basketball for 3 or 4 years. So his positioning is a bit rough. And I think that perhaps that's something that can improve with experience. Beyond that, he's a very slow leaper, which I do think is a very important skill in basketball, especially for a drop coverage big man. Gotta be able to get off the ground quick.
Sure.
Well, this guy's 250 pounds. He's a literal giant. He's got a 9'8" standing reach. I'm just going to keep saying it because I think it's cool.
Please, sir, please.
Bigger than Wemby. He's a little slow off the ground.
Yeah.
And he's often out of position.
Yeah.
So I guess those are the issues with him, but he could have a really high offensive upside, and I get into it more, but I think it's break zone time.
Oh, look at
Ricky being
Shout
aware
out.
of our
Pretty
on
Ricky
the
with
other
the
side.
collar.
let's
go.
put a pin in that Malawach
He
conversation.
just wants to hear some more ads.
Knock out some ads, then come back and dive right back into that and more draft prospects. Hit that like button for Ricky. Do it.
You know what? If Katie had a microphone right now, I'll be doing what I'm about to do to Will Gottlieb. Will Gottlieb, what time is it?
It's game time. Hoot.
Could have done it to Katie anyway.
Yes, yeah. Oh no, there's a plan. The concept of one. Game Time has a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets for events easier than ever. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff, so to only show you incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to spend time searching through thousands of tickets trying to find that best value. No. Curation makes it easier to find better value for tickets to sports, concerts, comedy, theater. Anything you want to see is easier for you with Game Time. Of course, they got the all-in pricing. Of course, they got the lowest price guarantee. Of course, they got that Game Time ticket coverage, which is the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. But they got the Matt and Big Dave favorite. They got the seat views. See how I like to stretch out my legs right there? See how his is stretched out as well? Stretch them out. That's how he sits at a theater, ladies and gentlemen, right there. Beer right here in one hand. He knows where the bathroom is. He knows where the exit is. Why? Because he's got seat views. That's how he sits. See, you don't have to worry when you're sitting behind him either. You can see your stuff too. Shout out. He cares about others because he's tall.
Right.
Oh, take the guesswork out of buying those tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use that code CHGO. Get yourself $20 off your first purchase.
Terms apply. Terms apply.
I said CHGO. Get yourself $20 off your first purchase.
Terms apply. Terms apply.
Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guarantee. Because Katie, what time is it? Game time. Yeah. She yelled it.
Let's go.
Shout out to her. Team players.
Ricky's getting the full experience. I'm liking this. It was a great ad read.
We roll along CHGO Bulls pod. Our guest, the one and only Ricky O'Donnell. What?
Don't you go?
Oh, you're right. I was just I was
so
ready.
happy Ricky's here?
I was so excited.
He's so giddy.
And
and not Josh.
You know what else gets me excited? The fine products at Mando.
Mando.
Oh, man. Mando is a whole-body deodorant, y'all. You got to check out their fine variety of products. It's safe to use anywhere on your body. That's right, a whole-body deodorant. I'm talking about your pits, of course, but your balls, your thigh folds, your belly buttons, your butt cracks, even your feet.
Not the buttons.
Mando was created by a doctor who saw firsthand how normal BO was being misdiagnosed and mistreated. It's clinically proven to block odor all day and control odor for up to 72 hours. That's 3 days.
It's true.
Take.
I'm a mathematician.
Math is mathing.
Mando deodorant product options are all kinds and all sorts. They have a solid stick deodorant formulated and powered by mandelic acid to stop odor before it starts. They also have a spray deodorant, aluminum free, and ideal for those hard to reach places.
Yeah.
They also have their deodorant wipes. Shout out to those. I love to bring those on my camping trips or any other outdoor activities. They're a great little cleanup on the go. Mando's clinically proven to control odor better than a shower with soap alone. 12 hours after a shower, here's an ugly truth, gents. The average man's grundle odor is a 5 out of 10.
What?
With Mando, the average grundle odor, 0 out of 10.
Mando.
Do you want to try America's #1 whole body deodorant formula right now?
I do.
You can. You can find them in Walmart, in Target, and other retailers across the country. For the best deals, go to shopmando.com. And here's what to do to get a little discount on this action. Grab the Mando starter pack. Comes with a solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice, whether it be body wash or deodorant wipes, plus free shipping. And there's a special offer for our CHGO listeners. New customers get $5 off that starter pack with our exclusive promo code. That's 40% off your starter pack. Just use promo code CHGO at shopmando.com. That is SHOPMANDO.com. Please support our show. Tell them that we sent you there. Smell fresher, stay drier, and boost your confidence from head to toe with Mando.
Mando.
All right. Now we're done with that, Katie? Okay, so picking up where we left off, I see there's Andrew McKay in the comment. Too big to fail, speaking of Malawatch. Have you heard of Taco Fall? I mean, there are always whataboutism examples of NBA draft busts or whatever. Taco Fall, I don't think was talked about as like a top 5 projected pick ever.
No, ever.
So there's that part. But so, again, you're saying that just based on it's a short amount of time that he's even begun to learn the game, Ricky, but that because of the frame and what we're seeing so far in his season with the Duke Blue Devils, that like this could turn into a force of a player.
Yeah. So I went through the negatives before the break, but in terms of the positives, I mean, he's shooting like 73% or something.
Beautiful.
When Malawach is on the pick and roll as a roller, if he gets the ball, he's finishing it. So he's just a really good finisher inside, dunks the ball easily. While I said he was like not a great defensive rebounder, he is a pretty good offensive rebounder just because he's got a big catch radius. He's taking up a lot of space down there. And I just think it would be like, so the Bulls, obviously, they're in no position to draft for need.
Yes.
Their need is just talent.
Yes.
But if you were going to say positionally, what's their biggest need? I would say they need a big, probably. You need a shot creator, of course, but you got Josh Giddey, so whatever, dude.
No guards?
You know, hang the banner. You got Josh Giddey. But Malawach, I think, has a really high upside to be a good scorer.
Yeah. Okay.
At 7'2", 7'3", I think he's going to shoot threes. Duke won't really let him take them.
Okay.
But if you go look before he was playing in the BAL, a professional league in Africa, he was shooting a bunch of threes. He has been taking them occasionally this year, even though Shire doesn't want him to take them. And he's got a pretty promising stroke. I think he's like a 72% free throw shooter. Looks like he's got a pretty good free throw stroke. But I just think the offensive upside is really high with him because I think he's going to shoot, and then just finishing, should be really good as a roller, good on the offensive glass, and good on like just, using his length to finish inside the paint. So I like him. Luol Deng is taking him under his wing. That's cool. We love Luol Deng. Remember when the Bulls had Luol Deng and they were like a fun team to root for? That was sweet.
Good
so
time
for that.
Yeah.
Had to trade him though. Had to duck
Another
that luxury tax.
Felicio was like 6'10", wasn't he? Felicio wasn't 7'2".
No,
9'8"
he was
standing
not.
reach.
That's like 7'2" is like people don't understand. When a guy's listed at 7 feet, he's most likely 6'10", and when he's listed at 6'10", he's probably 6'8". Like 7'2" is huge. That's a huge difference.
Who's person?
Yeah, so I think he's got big offensive upside. Yeah. And imagine if this guy's shooting threes and he's like a huge roller who's just going to be able to finish inside. I like him. He's the guy I want the Bulls to get. Come on, Malawach. Give him number 9, just like Luol Deng, right? Get Vooch out of here and give it to Malawach. So.
How does he compare to you to some of the other bigs in the class? I mean, we talked a little bit about Derek Queen, who I like a lot. You have him a little bit lower, but you've also got Noah Sengwe. Colin Murray-Boyles is kind of like a 4 more than a 5, I would say, but like Asa Newell is another guy who could be kind of in that tweener role. How does Malawach compare to those guys for you?
Yeah, I mean, he's just so much bigger. So Derek Queen, what's he like, 6'10" maybe? Can he even?
He's one of those listed at 6'10".
Can he even play center? It's like he's not going to be a shot blocker. He doesn't shoot.
Right. He doesn't look 6'10" on the court. He
doesn't really defend. Now, you know what they say about a little chubbiness. It's just upside in disguise.
Oh, okay.
So Derek Queen's got that going for him.
I like that.
I think that if he can get in better shape, he can learn how to shoot a little bit. What's interesting about Derek Queen to me is that he actually has some creation ability with the ball in his hands. If you really like close your eyes and you want it bad enough, you can see a little Boogie Cousins.
I was just going to say that.
With Derek Queen, which is fun.
Squinting.
I want Derek Queen in San Antonio from just a league-wide perspective, from Derek Queen's perspective, because he kind of needs someone who can like be a shot blocker behind him, who can space the floor a little bit. I don't know. I mean, Wemby's the best possible version of that guy. Yeah. So, but yeah, I think Derek Queen, like my question with him is, who is going to trust Derek Queen enough to put the ball in his hands? Because I think like the high upside version of Queen is like a guy who has the ball and is creating with the ball. What NBA team is going to trust him to do that? I mean, you'd have to be a team at the very beginning of their rebuild. So maybe a team like the Wizards, like maybe the Nets, maybe the Bulls, if Josh Giddey gets off the ball. So I don't know. I kind of like Queen. Queen, not one of my favorites. But you could talk me into him. I mean, if Will likes him, I like him. So.
Yeah. Well, and talking about like letting him operate with the ball, that's what our guy Corey from Draft Dudes was saying to us when we were chatting last week. He's like, that's his favorite part of Derek Queen's game is his face up, which you wouldn't necessarily expect for a guy that frame.
But who's going to let him do that?
At the NBA level right away?
Yeah.
Washington Wizards.
Not Billy Donovan is the correct
First face
answer,
up.
Katie.
He's out. Wanted to ask you though about one guy I do like is Trey Johnson.
Trey Johnson,
a walking bucket. That's what he does. 30 points all the time. Shoots a great percentage from three. What do you feel about him? Because I see you have him in that 7, 8, 9, 10 range.
Yeah, he's not my favorite archetype of player, but he just goes bananas all the time.
Buckets.
He's just so productive. He's an absolutely ridiculous shooter. I kind of think he's pretty similar to Ace Bailey, but he's 4 inches shorter.
My other favorite player.
Yeah. So I would not say that Trey Johnson is a complete basketball player. But Trey Johnson's real good at shooting the ball from deep, and those shots are worth 3 points. They're more valuable.
Wait, you're telling me that shots from beyond the arc are worth 3 points and that the basket is 10 feet tall?
We're learning a lot here, man. That's what we got him out here for.
Thank God.
I mean, this is what you guys
I
pay
think
me for.
We need to do on
the
this show
two things
way
this
before
season.
I think you're right.
All right, so Trey Johnson can really shoot. All right, can he be a Buddy Hield guy? If you get Buddy Hield,
ooh, that's a good
eighth
one.
pick in this draft,
That's
are
what
you
I was thinking.
I like that.
Are you thrilled about that? He'd probably be better than Buddy
A little
Hield.
better. Yes. Yeah.
I actually think his defense is pretty decent. Buddy Hield is a madman on defense. He's just gambling everywhere. You don't know what Buddy Hield's going to do on defense. Trey Johnson can defend on the ball a little bit. He can't really get to the basket with his handle from what I've seen so far. Although, I just watched him play Arkansas, and in that game, he scored 20 points or something in the last 10 minutes of the game in overtime. He was just totally crazy.
Yeah, 39.
So, yeah, I mean, he's kind of like Levine without the awesome athleticism and driving ability. But, as a two guard, he does make sense next to Giddey. If you're going to keep Giddey long term, you probably want a dynamite shooter next to him with a super quick trigger. So I could kind of talk myself into Trey Johnson, even though, typically not my favorite player because he doesn't have a super well-rounded game, but he's a bucket. So you got to respect it.
Yeah, and again, you mentioned my other guy, Ace Bailey.
Ace, yeah.
I'm curious of your impression of him because you got to see him.
I saw him live. Yeah.
So I'm curious what you see.
And he went off in that game.
He was
What'd he
so
do, baby?
sick in that game. Ace Bailey, no passes, no dribbles, just buckets.
Buckets.
First of all,
Antonio Blakeney would be proud.
He dribbles. I'm going to go back to my brilliant basketball analysis here. Ace Bailey's really tall. I was struck by how tall he is. 6'10". I mean, he was the tallest guy on the court by far. He's also the youngest guy on the court. I think he turned 18 in August. That's just off the top of my head. So Google that if you want to check me on that. But he's not as young as Flag. Flag turned 18 in December. But in a regular draft, Ace Bailey would probably be the youngest guy in the draft.
August 13th, 2006.
Look at that. I know some birthdays.
Oh,
2006.
That's crazy.
He's never seen the White Sox win the
We're
World
so
Series. That is sad. Ace Bailey, what do you know about Jose Contreras? But he's an awesome shooter.
Yeah.
Again, not really a complete player. I've never seen a player less willing to pass than Ace Bailey.
Yes.
But it's whatever, dude. He's just an incredible shot maker. And people look at him and they might think oh, his ceiling is so high because he has the skill as a scorer. I kind of look at him and I'm well, his floor is so high too because he's tall and he can shoot. He's just a really good offensive player. Also, defensively, some sneaky upside there. I wouldn't say he's locked in. When I saw Ace Bailey, my 2 cents from observing him in the game in the press conference is he was bouncing off the walls. He did not seem like a particularly attentive guy. People were asking him questions in the press conference. He's what'd you ask? And he's playing with the water bottle label. Again, he just turned 18 though.
Yeah,
I was doing the same thing when I was 18, I'm sure. So I think it might be hard for him to lock in early in his career for the mental aspect of the game. But he has the tools to recover too defensively. When he gets beat, it's okay, he's huge and he's a shot blocker. He's got a 7-foot wingspan. Could jump out the gym. So
and he works, right? He's not.
Oh yeah.
Seems like a hard
player.
worker. No, for sure seems like a hard worker. Also, he was just giggling the whole pregame when I saw him. Now he was working, but he was also a very jovial type of spirit around the team. So might be the type of guy that people want to play with, fun to play with, solid vibes.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like Ace Bailey. The Bulls have to get in the top 4 to get Ace Bailey.
Yes, correct.
Okay, so that's what I wanted to ask you. Is we get this comment or this. I mean, I haven't seen it on today's show, but just in general, we get this resistance about tanking or the idea that being high in the lottery doesn't work. You said this is a 5-player draft. just how not to say that there's only 5 players in it, but like that's where kind of like the high end talent is concentrated. In your mind, like how important is it to get into the top 4 in this class compared to drafting at 8 or 9 where they kind of are presently?
Just my read on it.
Exactly.
It would be significantly better to be in the, because I really like those top 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if we get Ace Bailey, Dylan Harper, I can't believe I said we. What kind of media member?
Come on, let's go, baby.
Come on, Malawach.
Hey, you're hanging out with CHGO Bulls.
That's it.
I feel like that guy
watch
would be
over
the
you.
most promising prospect on the team.
Yeah.
And I love Bazelis.
Yeah.
I can't believe we haven't talked about Bazelis yet. Really like Bazelis, but yeah, I feel like they would be the most promising prospect on the team probably.
Without a doubt.
We're like right there alongside Bazelis,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
It's 7 or 8. Now you're probably looking at Kasparis Yakachonis, who I had mocked to the Bulls in this mock draft. Really liked him at first, getting a little lower on
Me
him.
too.
Still think he's pretty good.
Yes.
If they get him, I'd be like, all right, that's a good ad for the talent base.
I noticed in your most recent mock notes on him, you were talking about the turnover problems, like a turnover rate of nearly 22 for the Illini season.
not
You know what that pairs well with in the Bulls' backcourt of the future? Josh Giddey and his
Yeah.
19% turnover rate.
Now, the one thing I'll say about Yakachonis, like that would prevent him from getting Giddey level offensively, is that his step back is nasty.
Mhm.
And he has like self-created 3-pointers that are a weapon in the NBA. And that's the type of shot that can scale up. Now, his 3-point percentage is not great right now. I think it might be 33%. If you watched him, this dude can shoot. He's taking self-created threes. I do sort of wonder, though, like, if he's not going to be the engine of an offense a la a Luka type, like, and he's playing off the ball, he's just not great as a catch-and-shoot guy. So I kind of worry
Yes.
about that a little bit.
Yes.
Also, he's not athletic. So, like, he's dunked one time. That worries me a little bit. Like, if you're a guard in the NBA, you usually got to be pretty athletic. I want a guard with a fast first step who can explode to the basket off 1 foot. Cram on somebody the way Kobe White did to Wemby.
Let's
The
go.
Bulls highlighted this season.
Suck it,
You
Wemby.
got to think about happier times,
Let's
right?
go.
But Yakachonis, I mean, if they get him, I'll be like, cool. I'll be cool with it. I don't think it'd be like a grand slam type
A building
pick,
block, but not the
a building
foundational
block
piece.
for sure. So I like him. And then the other guy I wanted to talk about is Jace Richardson.
Okay, let's go.
From Michigan State. He's the son of one of my favorite players from my childhood, Jason Richardson.
Jay Rich.
Who won a national championship with Michigan State in the
yeah.
year 2000. That was the last Big Ten team to win a national championship.
Wow.
2000 Michigan State. Can you believe that, guys?
Wow. I didn't believe no, that's wild.
Jace Richardson rocks. Classic Tom Izzo fashion. I'm an Izzo hater. Tom Izzo went the whole season not realizing Jace Richardson's the best player on the team. He did not play him more than 25 minutes, or start him until like February 8th.
This sounds like a Billy Donovan Modest Buzelis situation.
And
Not to say that Modest is the Bulls' best player,
Yeah. And since then, man, Jace Richardson has been killing it. I tweeted or Blue Sky posted something where I'm like, this guy's one of the best freshman guards I've ever seen. Okay, maybe I got carried away. But he's like incredibly good. He's like wise beyond his years.
Yes.
He's an absolutely dirty shooter. Okay, I don't know. You guys remember Jason Richardson as a
Of
player.
course,
You are
yeah.
of age to remember
I've
Jason
got
Richardson.
several dozen Jason Richardson basketball cards in my parents' attic
Dude,
somewhere.
Jason
That's
Richardson
flex.
was one of the most explosive athletes I've
Yeah,
ever seen.
he was
His
nasty.
son is not as tall or as explosive, because who is as explosive as Jason Richardson?
Yeah.
But functionally, his athleticism is phenomenal. He's very quick. He has like this crazy ankle flexibility and shin flexibility. We're just doing these like snatch backs into step back threes. He's a phenomenal shooter. The success of Jared McCain for the 76ers gives me some faith that Jace Richardson can have success in the NBA despite being, quote unquote, a smaller off-ball guard. He's not really like a high usage rate guy. So, that is maybe another knock against him. But here's the thing. In high school, Jace Richardson played at Columbus High School in Miami, Florida, next to Cameron and Caden Boozer. Cameron Boozer is in the 2026 NBA draft. He's going to Duke. He's the son of Carlos Boozer. They're the twin sons of Carlos Boozer. And Cameron Boozer's insanely good. Like, if the Bulls can get Cameron Boozer, that's like, oh, now you might have your franchise player.
The Boozer Bulls fans always did want to land.
Yeah.
As opposed to the consolation of 2010.
Sure.
Yeah.
So he played with the Boozers in high school.
Yeah.
And so he didn't really have the ball in his hands that much because Caden Boozer is like the best high school point guard. Cameron Boozer is like the best high school player. So he was kind of playing in a supportive role. Goes to Michigan State, and Tom Izzo is playing like fifth-year seniors who suck over him. All right, finally, in mid-February, Tom Izzo was like, wait, I have a good player on my team? He's the son of the best player I've ever coached? Maybe I should
learn
him.
how to win, Ricky.
And
That's why Billy doesn't like playing him either.
And he just immediately starts dominating. So I really like Jason Richardson. Jason Richardson with the number 8 pick in the draft. Maybe. I kind of like it. I'm all on board on Jace Richardson. Watch him in the tournament. I think he's nasty. He's a little short. Who cares? The guy doesn't miss from threes, like 46% on spot-up threes.
Hey, true shooting percentage above 63?
He's getting to the hoop, into the free throw line at like a pretty promising rate. So I love Jace Richardson.
So you've got him mocked at 13 to the Hawks in your mock draft from last week. Are you seeing him as one of these potential, like, early March to June climbers on people's draft boards?
I mean, now that he's getting on the floor over, what's the guy's name? Trey Holloman, I think, is the other Michigan State guard. Jaden Atkins and Jeremy Fears. Yes. I mean, the more he plays, all he needs is minutes, and he's really good. But, he's kind of short. So he's a 6'2", 6'3 guard. Got a lower usage rate. So people are going to be skeptical, a little bit of his NBA translation. But, Jared McCain looked pretty good, so I'm on board. I'm on board with the Jace Richardson experience.
You just mentioned Fears. What do you think about him?
Love Fears, yeah. He's one of my favorite guys in this class. Him and Yakachonis, I kind of go back and forth on. Which guy do I like more? I like them both. I think they're both pretty good. If the Bulls got either of them, I would be encouraged. Guys, I couldn't remember much in school, but I remember wingspans and birthdays. So I think Jeremiah Fears turned 18 in October of 2006. Again, he's never seen Jeff Blum hit a walk-off home run in the World Series, or Paul Konerko hit a grand slam in the World Series. So he's very, very young. His usage rate is sky high in the SEC, which is the best conference in the country by far. So just the fact that he's been thrown into the fire, he's handling a ton of usage, and he's been the best player in Oklahoma. These are pretty encouraging signs for him. From what I heard about Jeremiah Fears, he's from Joliet, first of all.
Oh,
shout out Joliet.
There it is.
What's the
Katie
boo
does
for?
not like
Katie?
Joliet, apparently.
What's the boo for, Katie?
She doesn't have the mic. She doesn't have the mic, but she's hating on the Joliet West Tigers. So why? I don't know.
Why?
We'll see.
Just don't know.
But so he's a guy from the area. Arturas is like 87% more likely to draft him just based off of that. But I always thought he was a shooter. That's what I heard about Jeremiah Fears when he was in high school. He's only shooting like 28% from three this year, I believe. But all the touch indicators are really high. Shooting well on pull-up twos, self-created shots, shooting well, and free throws. So I think he's going to shoot. Again, like I said, he's very young. He's like 6'4". He had a late growth spurt. So he's kind of just like growing into his body right now. But I do sort of like him as a pick-and-roll guard with some nice blend of scoring and playmaking. To me, like, he's more raw than someone like Malawach or Yakachonis. He's might take some time, but like second, third year in the league, I could see Jeremiah Fears being pretty good. And if the Bulls took him, I would be pretty happy with that.
Let me ask you that, because I asked Corey this same question when he was on. You said that you love the top 5 guys.
Yeah.
Like, you love those guys. How many plug-and-play players do you think are in this draft right now?
Yeah, there's always more than you think, I feel like, because guys, it's pretty context dependent. Like, what does a team need?
Right. For the Bulls, that list probably is a little longer.
Yeah.
Who can plug and play?
So I'm going to use this question to talk about one of my favorite plug and play guys, Colin Murray Boyles from South Carolina.
I'm glad we're heading on.
He's a 6'7" big man who can't shoot. So, sign me up. But no, it would be nice if the Bulls had one guy on the team who could play defense.
Yeah.
And it's too convenient to give Colin Murray Boyles a Draymond Green comp. Draymond Green is such a unicorn that nobody should be compared to Draymond Green. There's only one Draymond Green. But he does have some attributes that are similar to Draymond Green. And he's an advanced stats all-star. He is an elite defensive player. And I think he's got some offensive upside just in terms of his like driving ability and his interior finishing craft. What's tough about him is he doesn't shoot threes. And if you don't shoot threes and you're a 6'7" big man, it's kind of tough to make it work.
Yeah.
But I think he could be a short role playmaker. It would be nice, if the Bulls could have, Giddey or someone else create an advantage on the short roll, and then Colin Murray-Boyles can extend that advantage with his playmaking. I like his ability to put his shoulder into guys, create separation, and to finish with little hook shots. He just smoked Arkansas over the weekend, so I thought that was an impressive performance against a big Arkansas front line. And he's more of a defense-first prospect.
Okay.
But to me, he's I don't know, if you came away from this draft like a Kyle Anderson type, not saying that he really compares to Kyle Anderson completely, but he's just, maybe he doesn't have huge offensive upside, but will be a pretty good player, will elevate your defense, and is maybe the type of guy who can make a more offensively slanted player better in the future as you acquire those guys. I'm intrigued by him. So I think he's a plug and play guy. In terms of a number of plug and play guys, it's tough for me to say off the top of my head,
Sure.
there's 11 plug and play guys or whatever.
Well, let me ask it this way then: how many stars do you think are here right now? Because I think there are 5. I agree with you there. Do you think there are any more that we're just not seeing?
Yeah, probably 1 or 2. That happens every year. I never would have thought Jared McCain would have been this good. We'll see if he can keep it going.
Yeah, he was awesome.
But I think it's a pretty good class. I think it's kind of an average NBA draft class.
Okay.
But Flag is better than the average number 1 pick.
Right.
In my opinion. Of the number 1 picks I have evaluated, I think he, just in his pre-draft year, he's better than Anthony Edwards, Paolo Banchero. He's basically better than anyone I've seen besides for Wemby. And probably Zion. I was totally in the bag for Zion. And Zion failed because, for weird reasons, right?
Yeah. Snacks.
Yeah, because of snacks. And Cooper Flag's not going to have the snacks problem, it appears.
What about Harper?
Really like
How does he
Harper,
compare to other number 2 projected guys?
Well, if you just look in the draft, the number 2 pick every year kind of stinks. If you just go through it, historically, the number 2 pick isn't that good. But I like Harper. I mean, he's a 6'6" guard. I think he's a really good playmaker. I like Harper's playmaking. I think he's got great vision. He gets downhill well. What's weird is that he's finishing phenomenally this year, which I was surprised by because he's not a guy who's going to pop off the floor and cram on you.
Right.
He doesn't have that D-Rose athleticism.
Right.
Who does? But Dylan Harper certainly doesn't. He's more of kind of like a Cade Cunningham type of big guard in control of the game. I think he's a better playmaker than Cade. Cade has been so good this year.
Yeah.
That is a very lofty comparison. Cade also not the most efficient scorer. But, I mean, that would be a upside comparison, I think, for Harper. I like Harper. Another legacy pick. Let's get the son of Ron Harper and the son of Carlos Boozer on these Bulls. Suddenly, everything would take a big turn for the better.
Well, hey, I mean,
I like Harper, number 2 pick, easy in this draft.
The Bulls merch department would love that, I'm sure. Look at these names. These names ring a bell, right? Buy it.
Luckily, they can play.
Yeah. So as we are wrapping up here, I'm curious because you said look, top 5 really legit. You're not as enamored with the back half of the lottery picks that are, consensus lottery picks. Is there a player that you see a lot of people around you who do what you do in all this draft scouting for the NBA draft, buying somebody who you are not buying, and as a draft analyst / someone who can't quit the Bulls, say if the Bulls do end up drafting somewhere between 8 and 10, please, for the love of God, this is not the guy.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not the biggest Derek Queen guy, and people really like him. I can definitely see the upside in him. And I love that tremendous upside potential, but I just don't know about Derek Queen. That was the name of my first blog. I just snuck that in from 2007. If you guys didn't know that. I just wonder who's going to give him the ball. And then beyond that, Igor Demon. This is the guy I'm scared AK is going to draft.
Oh, God.
Okay.
He's a 6'9"
the Giddey
Russian
carbon copy
point guard who can't shoot at all. He's so slow. I was devastated to see John Giavone at Draft Express at ESPN.
Yeah.
Had him as a top 10 guy on his board because he actually talks to the league GMs. And so he's hearing that they like him. I think he absolutely stinks. And to me, that's the worst case scenario for this pick is BYU point guard Igor Demon.
Well, hey.
6'9", can't shoot. can't beat anyone off the dribble, can't play off the ball. On the ball, they're not going to guard him. He sounds like an Arturas Karnisovas draft pick, and I'm worried. I'm worried it's going to happen.
In order to get to 10 Giddeys, you got to at first get from one
gotta get
Giddey to 2 Giddeys, Ricky. Yeah, that's how counting works.
Oh, man.
That's going to do it for those of you watching on our streaming services like Comcast Xfinity, Samsung TV Plus, Roku. Shout out to all of you. If you want the bonus coverage, just head on over to allchgo.com. Okay, so you are not buying the Demon stock.
No.
Okay.
I'm out on the BYU freshman this year.
Ooh.
Igor Demon. I am
Where you
in
going?
on the
Yes.
BYU freshman next year.
Yes.
AJ DeBonsa. Actually, I have him third in the 2026 draft. That's a
He's
hot
nice,
take.
bro.
That is a
He's
hot
good.
take.
Yeah, I got
He's
Darren
nice.
Peterson number 1, Cameron Boozer number 2, AJ DeBonsa number 3. The Bulls get any of those guys. That would be incredible.
Yes. Yeah.
They need that type of talent to become good. Because I'm sorry, Arturas, but you need good players to have a good basketball team. And Arturas might think he can win the
You
championship.
just agreed with him. That's what he said. We need really good players.
That's it. We're going to
Yeah.
get a good player.
But
Championship contention.
you need stars, man. And
Stars. Not good players. Stars.
I like Bazelis. Bazelis looks good.
Yes.
He's
yeah,
cool.
you a
Yes.
believer in like a piece that they should keep to build with?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Of course.
Who,
Yeah.
who else do you think are like long-term pieces on this roster? Like, I guess the reason I ask is because I'm thinking like in terms of best player available or
Yeah.
like draft for fit, like who do you think is on this roster
Got to go best player available. Yeah. Good question.
for sure? But like with who's on the roster in mind, because I feel like we are kind of there's probably going to be some more action in terms of trades to the core itself of Io, Kobe, Giddey, Patrick, Modis. But like, which of those guys do you really feel like they need to keep around long term
Yeah.
and build with versus who do you think they should be looking to?
Well, it's a value play, right? So they should have traded Kobe this year.
Yeah.
This was the time to trade Kobe.
Mhm.
Arturas is always like 2 years late on his moves. So,
Facts.
like they'll probably lose
Caruso
Kobe
trade
for
much?
nothing now because they can't extend him because of the way his contract goes. So I'm worried about that. Kobe's a good player. I like Kobe. Keep Kobe around if you want to. Should Io be this team's Udonis Haslem, where they just keep Io for like
20 years.
15 years as a
Forever.
culture guy? I think that'd be tight. If you could trade him for a first round pick, cool. If not, I don't think you're gonna like break the bank to keep Io.
Probably
I'd rather have Io than Giddey. Is that crazy?
No.
I'd rather have Kobe
Depends
than
who
Giddey.
you ask, but no.
Yeah, I'd rather have Kobe and Io than Giddey. Prove me wrong, Giddey. Keep putting up
wrong,
Michael
yeah.
Jordan, Thad Young numbers.
Let's go.
But yeah, so I think those two guys are, to an extent keepers, but also like it's a value proposition.
Yeah.
If you could have got some picks for Kobe this year, you should have traded him. They didn't because Arturas is delusional. Then beyond that, there's no keepers on this roster, really. I mean, I kind of like Jalen Smith.
Okay.
He's been one of my favorite guys on the team this year. What do you think of Jalen Smith, Will?
I feel like I'm a little
joking,
lower
I'm
on Jalen Smith than what most people are. I think he's really good in short bursts. Like he can block a couple shots and hit a couple of threes. But then like as soon as you put too much on his plate defensively where he's got to like play for 25 minutes, I think that's where things start to break down. But we've seen him the last couple of nights where you've been able to get like real starter level minutes out of Collins and he can come in and be impactful. So I think it's more about role for him.
Definitely off the bench. Yes, you can set your watch to it. What he's going to do out there. I mean, it's going to be a pick and it's going to pick and roll all day.
And he's
Or
a
gonna
good
step
shooter.
back and
He's like a
take that
legit
three.
shooter.
Yeah, he can shoot that ball, man. So yeah, I agree with you in those bursts, like 11 to 15 minutes from him. I think you're going to get about a good 10, 12 points, 6, 8 rebounds from him, man.
And like
Which
a
is
blocker
solid.
too.
Yeah,
Like,
I don't
he
mind that at
definitely
all.
provides value.
Yeah.
Real quick before we get out of here, just because I know you are lucky enough to not have to nitpick every single of Bulls 48 minutes every night these days. That's not your job, Ricky. Across the league, what do you want to see in the finals? Do you want to see Cavs Thunder? Do you want a different matchup? Like, do you think the Cavs can take down the Celtics? Because that comeback the other day was awesome.
That was a great game.
Cavs Lakers, baby.
Oh,
Give me
get
LeBron
outta
against the
here.
Cavs. That'd be great theater. The NBA would be back.
It's been great having you, Ricky.
I don't know what I'm rooting for. You know what's crazy is that since Steph and KD were together in Golden State,
Yeah.
there's been a different champion every year.
6
Yeah.
years
for
running.
6 straight years.
Yeah.
The last time that happened in NBA history, 1975 through 1980. We're talking essentially the pre-Burden Magic
Right.
days.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Yeah.
parity is not the norm in the NBA. In the NBA, You have the Lakers, Magic Johnson dynasty, the Celtics with Bird, the Bulls with Jordan, then Tim Duncan. You know, it goes on and on. You got dynasties. That's not happening right now. So I don't know. Like, I don't really see the Celtics winning this year. They certainly could. They're really good. But I think the Thunder could absolutely win. The Cavs could absolutely win. But I don't know, man. Luka in LA. You guys, I guess you're a LeBron hater, so you don't want to see the Lakers.
I'm not a LeBron hater at all.
Yeah,
not at all.
You're right on the money over here.
Yeah, you're Lakers hater.
I don't hate him. I don't hate him. He's just not better than Mike.
That'd be good theater.
It's that simple.
Hey, he's the second or third best player ever. That's pretty cool.
Yes.
No shame in that.
Without a doubt.
No shame.
Without a doubt.
What do you think about the Warriors with Jimmy?
They're good. Yeah, I don't know if I'm a full believer in them yet, but they badly needed somebody who could be on the ball, get to the free throw line, put pressure on the rim,
Someone
to free up Steph.
Help give him a rest.
To not have to create on the ball. He's at his best off the ball. So I think they're really good. Right now, if the season ended today, it would be Warriors-Lakers in round 1. If the seeding held, it would be Lakers-Nuggets in the second round, Lakers-Thunder.
What a path to the finals that would be. Oh, my God.
And I don't even think I believe in the Lakers to that degree because they have no center. LeBron is playing center. LeBron has got to be on the 2001 Barry Bonds stuff right now. The way he's playing. He's playing unbelievable. He's 40 and he's playing center.
It's crazy.
He's playing center and he's dominating
Rejuvenated,
defensively.
playing
It's like,
next to
I wrote an article about LeBron earlier this year that said LeBron's finally losing to Father Time. Then LeBron took a little break, and then he comes back.
People wrote that article like 15 years ago. He's been in the league so long, it's ridiculous.
LeBron was drafted the same year as
03.
Kirk Heinrich,
Yep.
Chris Kaman, Michael Sweetney,
Sure was.
TJ Ford.
He was drafted 6 years before Taj Gibson, who is the second oldest player in the league.
Just remembering some guys.
Yeah.
Always fun.
What do you feel about the Mavericks when healthy?
Yeah, so I did rank them as my number 1 Kevin Durant suitor this offseason. That just seems like a lock, doesn't it? Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, back together again.
Together.
What could go wrong? Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving.
DeAndre Jordan.
And Anthony Davis, you know?
That's mean.
Could be a pretty sick
On
team.
paper, that's me. Yeah.
But it's always the case with the Kevin Durant trade, right? It's always mean on paper, and then it doesn't quite work out.
Mean in real life.
I feel really bad for the Mavericks fans.
Devastating.
But, you know, what are you going to do? Like,
Say mine.
Bulls fans have to root for a pretty bad team, too. So,
Hey, yeah, the sympathy only goes so far for a fan
We're
base
number
who
29
watched
in
their
the
team
front
go to the
office
finals
rankings.
last year.
Yeah. Oh no, I've got Anthony Davis, and I still might have a chance to go to the finals.
Why don't you just come join us on the play-in tournament carousel? See that? Try that on for size. If only.
If only.
We are out of time for today, unfortunately. We could sit and talk hoops and NBA and college and draft stuff with Ricky all day. If time allowed, because he is the best writer, editor, associate director of programming at SB Nation. Check him out, the mock drafts, SBNation.com. Follow him, SBN_Ricky. And of course, shout out to a member of that Bulls Pod fam, the Bulls Pod community, Cash Considerations. How
JP, what up?
What's going on, JP? What's on deck for you guys? What are you going to talk about next in this riveting last stretch of 20 games?
Well,
Still
guys,
doing weekly?
you're never going to believe this, but yeah, we do it weekly. Jason is way more organized than I am, and so Jason just kind of like texts me, and then I just do the podcast. So, and I just, say whatever I'm thinking of off the top of my head, like I did today. But yeah, we're doing it every week. Cash Considerations. We're a Bulls podcast. So listen to us.
There you go. If you don't get enough therapy here, as somebody who hosts a Bulls podcast, theirs is therapy for my ears. Truly enjoy it and have for many, many years.
Many years, yes.
Ricky, appreciate the time, man. Always love when you stop
Thanks for
by.
having me, dudes.
Great stuff. Can't wait to look forward to more of your draft content and draft scouting coming up over the next couple months. I'll be glued to it. We are back tomorrow when the Bulls are back in action, taking on the Cavs. Yikes.
Let's go.
7 p.m. tip central. That means we will be here live with pregame at 6:30. Until then, follow Will_Gottlieb. He's the GOAT. He's perfectly coiffed. Read his stuff. AllCHGO.com. Become a diehard to read all of it and the very best of it. Big days of BAWL Sports. I'm Bulls_Peck. We are CHGO_Bulls.
Mustache.
Shout out to the queen of the controls, one and only Katie Duffy. Back on the mic tomorrow, y'all. Hit the like button on your way out, for crying out loud.
Yes.
Hit the like. Even you, Giddey Tribe. We love you.
We love y'all.
Have a great night. See you, Rev. Be good.
Katie loves y'all too. Peace.
We all silly like the mayor.